Sadiq and welcome to another Media Friday. A little bit later than usual, but still welcome to the Media Cast here on the Funkit Pod. Bit later than usual, not much, I hope, a little bit later than usual, because, well, technical difficulties. Thank you, Apple. Hey, if you want to sponsor this podcast, I wouldn't mind an iMac where I could edit my podcast, because my laptop is suffering. My MacBook, my 2019, I think, MacBook, it's only 2 years, is suffering quite a lot right now. But, well, I shouldn't complain too much, still worked, and I hope it still comes to you in time and not too late. And hopefully you listen to this and over the weekend say, hey, I had something to listen to over the weekend. You're welcome. All right, let's just jump right back in, like what happened in the media. And I read one thing, and that's why I put it right at the front of my notes. I read an article, like I think a day ago or so, that says Snap soars as social media evolves to a new era of creators and commerce. And apparently Snapchat, Snap Inc. Saw their stock like shoot up by 24%, I believe. Let me check my notes. Yes, 24% the day after reporting its biggest growth quarter in 4 years. Now, let's be honest. Who of you out there, and if you're listening and not watching, I'm pointing at you right now. Who of you is still using Snapchat? Like, how old are you? There are still people on Snapchat? Huh. Tell me why. Ain't nothing but I never got into Snapchat seriously, but even just to try and to check it out, I stopped like years ago. I don't even know when, like 2 or 3 years ago. I haven't opened Snapchat in like 2 or 3 years, I think. So let me know what's happening on Snapchat. Why are you still on there? What's wrong with you? Other big news that I also just wanted to get off my chest, so as a easy, smooth way of jumping in this week's podcast, because usually I start very heavy. According to, and also let me check my notes that I'm not saying anything wrong. According to the most reliable news source on the internet and the most reliable news channel being Twitter, the news source being Grimes. We know Grimes always posts great, insightful things on social media. She posted that apparently, and how do I pronounce it now? Lil Uzi Vert, Lil Uzi Vert, a musician. I'm guessing it's a classical opera singer from the name Lil Uzi Vert, owns a planet. So apparently Lil Uzi Vert wants to buy or bought already the planet called WASP-127b. It's a gas giant that's 1.4 times larger than Jupiter. Awesome. And Grimes broke the news. So thank you, Grimes. Breaking news once again. For a quick moment, I thought maybe that WASP-127b is just the name of Lil Uzi Vert's baby. But apparently it's not. Breaking news. Okay, but now enough of the smooth, fun things to talk about, to discuss. Let's talk about something serious. Let's talk about Mark. Let's talk about Facebook. Let's talk about the metaverse. You remember, I'm sure you do, last week I even called the episode like Into the Metaverse. People ask me like, why? Because it's a thing, and Mark Zuckerberg also thinks that the metaverse is going to be a thing, and he wants to build it. And he says he wants a Facebook metaverse, of course. And he said in an interview, and I quote, "You can think about the metaverse as an embodied internet where instead of just viewing content, you are in it." And I mean, it's no surprise that he says that, because of course Facebook is heavily involved in VR, AR, PC, gaming, mobile, anything, right? Facebook is everywhere. And now he wants this whole holistic 360, more buzzwords, approach. So he wants you to basically live in with under Facebook, under Facebook's control, probably. So he wants to build a super immersive Facebook experience that you can do anything in the Facebook metaverse. And yeah, I noted it down. So if you're watching this podcast right now, for those who are listening, I'll explain it. I'm looking at my notes, and I do it because I don't want to, again, misquote him. He said, I think that this is a persistent, synchronous environment where we can be together, which I think is probably going to resemble some kind of a hybrid between the social platforms that we see today, but an environment where you're embodied in it. So he basically says, we gonna go like to 3D concerts, see holograms, or be a hologram and attending things together. So that's what he said. Remember, like a few weeks ago, he had like this update. I was about to say this tweet, this Facebook post where he said like, "Dude, I get so excited you forget to eat and stuff like this." So he said, this is something that I'm spending a lot of time on, thinking a lot about. We're working on a ton. So if there's a company out there that can make that happen, it's Facebook, right? I mean, yeah, Google, of course, also has the money, Tesla, if they would want to, of course, Apple, but Facebook already has all of us. They have all of our data in their Facebook universe. So creating that metaverse, and with having bought, whatever, 5-6 years ago, Oculus, so they are in the VR game, they are in the AR game. So now bringing this all together seems just like a matter of time, doesn't it? Then the question is, how do you escape the Facebook metaverse? One, it might be really cool, of course. You're going to concerts and so on, but by doing so, of course, they will get all the data. They will know what concert do you go to, what do you do, like what do you order, which friends do you have as holograms, whatever. They will know even more than right now, right? And privacy is already an issue. So if forget about your WhatsApp privacy concerns, this is going to be the real big thing. And I'm not sure if there are enough people going to be aware of it, because it might be just like, oh my God, that's so cool, do it. Hey, yeah, that's so cool. Especially if that stupid pandemic keeps on going or keeps like reinventing itself. I think we're all going to be even more open to try those things, because, I mean, quite frankly, what else are going to do? From a personal point of view, I even can share this. The first time in, 10 years that I'm playing a computer game right now. I haven't played in forever because I thought, well, games are cool and stuff, but I spend my time with other things. So I work so much on the computer during the day and research and whatnot. So I'm like, if I have free time, I'm not going to spend on the computer. I go exercise, I go Thai boxing, I go whatever, right? But now can't do anything. So the last 2 days, I actually, for the first time in a decade, I'm playing a computer game. I'm like, what? So yeah, and just imagine we would have that metaverse. Not going to call it metaverse, call it something cool, something fancy, something easy to understand. But just imagine we would have that. We would all be in there right now, because the pandemic, we're back in a big lockdown here in Thailand, so the pandemic sucks, and we would all use that metaverse for sure. So that's going to be something really, really crazy in my opinion. And let me know what you think about that, because I think that has potential to disrupt the world, change the way we communicate, but also, of course, make us even more slaves to personalized marketing, targeting, and whatnot. Like, I think marketing would be the least of our issues then, I'm assuming. This could be crazy. Since we're already on with Mark and on the Facebook train, users on IG, they are reporting that there's a new sensitivity filter at work that sends us lots of work. So, for example, like a gun holster company that produces holsters for guns said their posts are not being shown anymore. Even though they're not advocating for guns, they're creating gun holsters. Those gun bags, however you call it, but they see a significant drop there. And it's not only for like gun, it's like for apparently political stuff or medical stuff, or like medical posts, political posts, and so on, that are not hardcore, that are not like super far right, and I don't know, racist and so on. Apparently, all those posts now also see significant drop. Apparently, the new algorithm is even more woke, NPC and whatnot than the previous one. So apparently, lots of drops in views there for certain content creators. Instagram says, nah, that's not that much of a change. We didn't change that much, so that's not the reason why no one's seeing your posts anymore. I would be interested to hear if some of you guys in the audience out there, if you experience this too. If you have like a political podcast or something, for example, if you talk about some COVID-related stuff, something slightly critical maybe. If you had a gun and on a poster in the background and now your posts are gone and not be shown anymore, I'm not sure if this also happens, but I would like to hear this. That would be really interesting. And if you had some first-hand experience there, we can maybe dissect it and look into it. So shout out at funkitpod on social media, funkitpod@gmail.com. That would be really interesting to talk about this. I hope we find someone to talk about this. I was quickly hesitating for two reasons. A, my cat just joined me here. Hey, Spooky. And B, I was thinking how I find a transition to the next small topic that's not really related. But then again, it is somehow, because we had Mark from Facebook, who's a billionaire. And then let's move to the next billionaire. Jeff Bezos. You all remember last week he flew to space. He went to space, kind of, and I read a few more articles with interviews by like people on board, and especially my favorite crew member, not astronaut, because the U.S. aeronautics, whatever government said, those people are not astronauts. Those space tourists are not astronauts. We call them something else, not astronauts. But there was this lady, right, Miss Funk, amazing name. Miss Funk, you should be on my podcast, by the way. I'm gonna try to get her on that podcast. That would be awesome. So, and she trained to be an astronaut, but she never made it. I mean, she was in the program, but she never went to space, right? Back then in the 60s. And so now they took her up, and she said she wasn't that impressed. A, it was not that much time there. B, it was all black, so you didn't see the planet beneath them like those pictures from NASA. And C, they were told not to float around or to do too many backflips or anything because there was not enough space for it. So she was not that impressed with her experience, which I think is very interesting. Also something to think about when you want to spend $30 million just to sit there and then see black darkness and then just come back. So she was not that impressed, and I have to get her on this podcast. Miss Funk, we're gonna make this happen. Miss Funk, Mr. Funk, on the Funkit Pod. We need to do this. Like, it's gonna be like Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Let's try. But why do I talk about it? Because Jeff Bezos came out, of course, and he said in his thank you address, he said, I want to thank every Amazon employee and every Amazon customer because you guys paid for all this. Can't make this up, right? Oh my God. It's the worst message he could have sent. Doesn't he have PR people there that tell him, dude, don't say that? It's ridiculous. Worst way to celebrate. And I mean, I haven't seen much private footage of him before or anything, but now those few moments where you've seen him interact after the landing and stuff, he looks like, and he acts like a supervillain. He laughs like a supervillain. Oh my God. Though I'm not going to use Amazon anymore. That was really shivered down my spine. But yeah, good on you, Jeff. Good on you. Elon Musk was impressed. Elon Musk was happy with it. Nice. No, what was Elon Musk? No, Elon Musk was with Richard Branson, right? All those billionaires. No, by the way, it's all white male billionaires doing that, right? Richard Branson, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos. I think I see a pattern there. I think I see a pattern there. We should look at like the race and then the sociology behind this too. Not now though, not right now. It's 1 a.m. here in Bangkok while I'm recording, because now that I have my computer running, hopefully again. So let's move on to the next one. And the next topic actually is very much media related. I read an article that the media spending here in Thailand, so if you're interested about what's happening here in Thailand, if you're interested in what's happening here in Thailand, media spending is predicted to have a 4% decline, to see a 4% decline here in media spending due to the outbreak again here of COVID, shutdown, lockdowns, and so on. That's why they're slashing budgets, which you would think is understandable. But from a media person's point of view now, I'm saying that's the wrong cut to make. Make other cuts, because now that everybody is at home, you should invest in digital media. Obviously, your ad spend should go up probably, or at least stay the same, but probably should go up. Your digital content spend, creation, output, this all should go up right now because people spend more time at home, more time online. Now is not the time to hide and to go away. Now is the time to be like, hey, I am here. You're online, you're digital, you're consuming media. That's where I am. Look at me. So I understand why this is happening, because we make less money right now. But now going into hiding, probably the wrong decision to make. So if you can afford it, of course, that's the big premise here, you can afford it, you should maybe try to make cuts somewhere else. I'm not saying with your staff, obviously, but make cuts somewhere else, and maybe don't cut the media spending, because that's where your target audience, customer, clients, whatever, will see you right now. So I understand why it happens. Disagree though with the reason why, or with what people do, or what the companies do right now, corporations. But of course, if there's no other way, before you go bankrupt, you cut your spending everywhere, and then you go bankrupt 2 months from now. So, All right, last thing that I wanted to say today is a very short one, because I'm sorry, but my laptop, Apple, counting on you. Actually, whatever, as long as I can run Adobe Premiere on it, whatever. It doesn't need to be a MacBook or an iMac. If any other tech company is out there that wants to help this poor fledgling, is it a word? Fledgling, this poor podcast to survive and to get podcasts out on time again, hook me up, shout out. I'm giving you a shout out here. You're going to be my sponsor. I'm going to have a banner showing your brand name. If you help me get some kind of machine here going that helps me to produce this podcast. Okay, Clubhouse news. I haven't spoken much about Clubhouse except when I told you that I deleted Clubhouse, that I uninstalled Clubhouse. And now Clubhouse news, breaking news, moves out of invite-only beta, now open to all users. For the listeners right now, I'm clapping. I'm clapping actively. Awesome, Clubhouse. That's a great move, Clubhouse. Like, wow, who told you that it's smart to open for everybody if you want to have a big user base? Too late. Spotify Green Room is cool. Twitter Spaces, Facebook has their stuff. I think it's too late for Clubhouse to do. I mean, they're still like the first mover for audio chat, but I think now those other channels, those other platforms will grow. We'll see more people use them because they're on there anyways. I'm on Spotify to listen to stuff anyways. Podcasts, music, why not also give those green rooms a try? I'm on Twitter anyways. Why not give the spaces a try? I'm on Facebook. Yeah, sometimes anyways. Why not give those Facebook rooms a try? Clubhouse, I need to actively go there. Yeah. Clubhouse, you need to be better. Club innovation, man. The thing that set you apart in the very beginning is what you completely forgot to do. You did not innovate. You'd like, hey, if we have something that no one else is doing, let's just sit back and relax. No, you had something that was super easy to copy, and you didn't expect people to copy it. Like, if you're successful, of course, everyone copies it. We see that all the time. Snapchat does something, Instagram copies it. Twitter does something, whatever, Instagram, Facebook copy, and the other way around. How are you surprised that others copied you and now you're stuck because you're not innovating? If you were my students, I would be furious. Like, of course you have to expect that others copy you. Others might even have more money to do that. So why do you stop innovating? And that's the reason why you're off my phone, Clubhouse. All right. That's the news for this week, because I really just want to get this podcast out to you guys, of course. With all the tech problems next week, promise, going to be longer, more rants, more news, hopefully. But there's one more thing that I want to say, because this time I didn't start with it, I end with it. And I hope maybe the call to action at the end hopefully helps more than the call to action in the beginning. So, what's happening in Myanmar? Yes, I have to talk about it again because it still doesn't get better, it gets worse. It's insane. Just check it out. Google Myanmar news and just click on the first 2 or 3 results that you see and try not to cry. It's ridiculous. People are desperate, dying in the streets, insanity. Do something. Don't be quiet. Don't let this go unseen. Tell everybody. Tell your friends. Tell your mom. If you can, tell your government. Tell politicians. Tell them, hey, don't look away. We need to do something because we need to do something. Having that said, I still hope you have a nice weekend. Of course, don't forget to act, to do something. Yeah, spread the word. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe here to the Funkit Pod so that you can see whenever there's a new episode coming out. Starting next week, I will also read your recommendations or reviews that you leave on Apple Podcasts. So if you leave your review on Apple Podcasts, make sure you leave your Twitter or IG handle too, because I will shout out and say, hey, Ed, whatever, wrote this, even if it's not the most positive review of all, I will be unbiased and will appreciate all the feedback I get, so I will read this out loud here on the air. All right, until then, and like, share, subscribe. Tell me what you want to talk about or what you want to hear more in this podcast if you follow me on social media at funkitpod or by email funkitpod@gmail.com. Until then, take care, stay safe, and I'll see and talk to you soon. Sawadee ka.